Hello, Ash. How does it
Hello.
feel to be a champion?
Yeah, it's all right. There's fewer finer things in life.
Fewer finer things.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I'm ecstatic.
great. Uh, so my first question, uh, at the beginning of the season, we were looking at all the team previews, and you and Dave had gone for a remarkably similar build for your Chaos Dwarfs. In fact, same color team kit as well. Most annoying. But there was some debate about the starting level ups, and the differences between your two teams is you gave a ball centaur sure hands, and he chose to make a hobgoblin a ball carrier and give sure hands to a. I think he decided to do that.
Yeah.
So how clear was your vision for the team, and did you ever have any doubts about that play style, ball
Oh
centaur ball
yeah,
carriers?
yeah, 100%. I think like I definitely deliberated over it like numerous times before creating the team as to kind of what's better. But um, I banked on the fact that having played My Little Pony for 3 seasons,
Mhm.
picking up on a 4+ with sure hands really isn't that bad. So, um, yeah, you can't really pass up, uh, the strength 4
Mhm.
movement, what 9 with the sure feet and sprint.
Yep.
Yeah, hard to pass that up, especially when you get team movement ups as well. So I feel like I made the right choice in
Well, yeah, you can never predict the level ups, but yeah, that sure
that.
helped.
Well, not unless you're you, but
Right. Yeah,
we won't question.
he's dead now. So yeah, your playstyle of ball centaur, ball carrier is immediately apparent if you go looking at the stats at all, right? AMX going to give it to you. Scored 20 of your 24 touchdowns, uh, and more running yards than most of the other teams in the league combined in their entirety. Um, So Dave took the Hobgoblin ball carrier route, and whilst his Hobgoblin Dev John Paxson was second in the league with 9 touchdowns, that's
Oh
still
wow.
less than half of what AMX got, which of course resulted in 77 SPP for AMX. Uh, do you feel any regrets about them becoming this huge SPP sponge and the rest of your team effectively going without?
I don't think I felt that until probably like literally the last game that I've just played. Because I had a lot of deliberations over obviously skill choices as I leveled up. So I got the movement up straight away, which was fantastic. And then I think the next level up was a second movement up. So I had some tough choices along the way, but it literally wasn't until the level up last game that we played last game of the season that I kind of went, it doesn't really need any more skills now.
Yeah,
Um, so I think it's probably just about right. He's leveled up to a point where I don't want anything else on him. But
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely left me lacking. The rest of the team is well fairly underleveled.
yeah,
But there's enough to do what you need to with Chaos Dwarves. So
yeah. Yeah, I think a big part of why AMX had 50 SPP more than any other player on your team is because, and I was surprised to see this, you actually had a pretty bloodless season. Um, you've got no player that's in the top 10 of casualties or
yeah.
kills. You've only got 23 casualties in total, which is two more than me, and I thought that I'd done terribly on casualties. Uh, were you as frustrated with the lack of blood as I was? Because I was very feeling it in most of my games that I was just not getting casualties, or were you just content with the play style and how that was going?
Yeah, I think I was fairly content because, like I said, I didn't need too much. I don't think you need too much on Chaos Dwarves anyway. But it's like dwarves. What do I pick for a level up? Is it guard or is it guard?
Right.
There's not too much choice with it. Um, so once I got, I think I started with like one or two guard as well. So once I got a couple more, it was level ups were nice or casualties were nice for a bit of SPP, but I didn't necessarily need them.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was definitely frustrations. I know playing against Dan, and I still don't think I had many casualties in that. Same against Jez. You expect against the stunty teams to
Yeah. Go
start
farming.
racking up some. Yeah,
Yeah.
go rack some SPP, and I think all I did was get SPP on AMX. Going to give it to you. So
Yeah. I see all the leveled blockers took guard first, other than one claw piece, which I think makes sense for dwarfs, right? But when I saw that, I went to your stats expecting you to have a lot of blocks, a lot of successful blocks to utilize all of that guard. But you're not in the top 5 teams for successful blocks. Did you pick guard purely to be defensive, or is it sort of just a generally good utility thing?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like I said, I tried to play them very similar to Khemri, which
Mm.
was you've got your ball carrier, but I'm still gonna try and move up the pitch very slow, and I'm just gonna make it awkward for you rather than me roll the risky dice. I want to make your opponent roll the risky dice, and that's kind of always the logic with guard is I'm going to make you do a load of 1 dice and hope you mess up
Yeah.
rather than me do it. And I think guard fits that lovely. I can't think of a better skill to support that.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how you would have played it in the new system with the skill that counters guard, right?
Oh yeah, I mean I still don't think that. I don't think anyone really picks it anyway.
Oh,
So
really? It seems,
yeah, I think because it's locked to Agi, I think. So
Oh,
yeah,
weird.
is it? I think it is. Oh, it's been a little bit now, but yeah. So it means it's not picked up too
Mm.
much, and then you've kind of it's not useful on your turn. Which is it? They changed it at one point, so it only works on one of your turns, not both your opponents and yours.
Yeah.
So that kind of diminishes it. But yeah, it would be interesting to play with the new skills.
Yeah, would have been, wouldn't it?
If only, if only.
Yeah.
Maybe in a few years.
So there were only 4 interceptions in the entire league this season, but
Oh, I know where
AM
this is going.
AMX, AMX and Tog, your 2 bull centaurs, had 1 each of the 4. Can you remember when they occurred and if they were sort of like these game-changing moments?
I can't exactly remember when they occurred, but I do remember one of them specifically being pretty game changing because, the pass went over, and I thought that was pretty much game really.
Mm.
So to then have suddenly caught it on the ball center, nonetheless, like it literally couldn't have been more perfect.
Yeah, like when a
But
bull
yeah,
centaur catches it, it's like, all right, it's like you don't even have much of a chance of getting it back again, do you? Because it's on
no,
a fucking
no,
bull centaur now.
yes, yeah, it's run straight off down the pitch. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, interception is always nice. It's such a rare occurrence anyway. Well, I say nice. It depends whether I'm the one being intercepted or not, I guess. But
Yeah. So you were the king of brunch early on in the season, but you only managed to get 7 points out of your last 5 games in crunch time. Can you point to anything that may have affected you at all?
yeah, I think I haven't been to the doctors about it, but I think I've probably got something wrong with my throat.
Oh, right.
Tend to choke quite bad.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just mocking me.
No, oh no. Sorry, yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know what happened the second half of the season, really.
Yeah.
Like I think I said in Discord, it very much felt like My Little Pony all over again, where I was kind of having a good run, and then I just had one game that it all fell apart, and it kind of just spiraled from there.
But most people in the league would point at your game against Greg as like the beginning of the spiral. But
it's before that.
it was 5. It was 5 whole games at the end. You only got 7 points out of it, right? So
Yep.
it's pretty
Yeah.
pretty big. I wondered
Yeah.
whether it coincided with your new job, because it would have been around that time, wouldn't it? 5 matches,
Yeah,
10
I mean,
weeks.
I'll take any excuse that means it's not my poor performance.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think was Rob my first draw? No, I don't think it was my first draw, but I kind of remember my game with Rob as being the start of it, where I actually felt like I potentially could have beaten Rob, and
Yeah.
that would have sort of sealed my victory quite early on. But yeah, I still haunts me at night, sort of the one single mistake of letting his goblin free and him getting the touchdown. So
Yeah.
yeah, the tears well up sometimes. But
So it feels like you've been here for a long time now, but it's actually only 6 seasons you've played. Where
Is that
my
6? Feels like more than 6, but
it's 6. Where My Little Pony got 3 goes at it, you've actually only played 4 races, so the possibilities are endless for next season. Any thoughts on what you might play next time?
Oh yeah, I already know.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's yeah, definitely going back to hiding in plain sight.
Oh yeah?
I didn't I was that was my first foray into the elf.
Mm.
And I wasn't sure how I would enjoy it, but I think by like halfway through the season, I really quite enjoyed the uh what's the best way of describing it? Sort of the relaxed feeling, the freedom of playing elves. That it doesn't matter if 7 of my players go off the pitch because
Mm.
I only need 2.
Well, they always say that, but it does. There's quite a lot of subjective things going on in each match when everybody's watching all of your players die, and you say,
It'll be okay.
someone always chips in, and they say, "Oh, they only need 2 elves on the pitch in order to get it." No, you don't. You need more than that.
Yeah, but yeah, I seem to think that my high elf season wasn't that good, but every time I say that, you come back with some stats that tell me actually it was pretty good. Like
Well, yeah,
I remember I scored quite a lot of touchdowns with them.
it
Um,
is. It was only because of Greg's wood elves when fruit attacks
yep.
that you don't have the record for most touchdowns in a season.
Oh
Because you
wow. Okay.
3 teams broke it that season. I scored 41, you scored 45, and Greg scored 50 from 14 games.
Wow.
So he scored 3.57 a game.
I seem to remember. I think that was a season where there was a couple of like 6-5s or 5-4s.
Yeah,
That
e-
it was a mad season.
everyone filled their boots playing Ben and his alphabet goblins, with 6-0s being like the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
they're
I'm def.
one of the scariest offenses of all time, hiding in plain sight for sure.
Oh well, hopefully I can continue that next season. But yeah, I think playing Chaos Dwarves again this season reminded me of how I felt playing My Little Pony again, which
Mm,
was every game was quite nerve-wracking. It was sort of every play had to be perfect, like making
yeah.
sure there were no holes in my defense, praying I don't just have a game against Crag where my armor disappears and doesn't work.
Mm.
um,
That's the
you
thing
know,
when you're playing a squishy team, it's the norm, and so it's not quite
yes,
as
yeah,
bad when it happens. You're like
yeah.
expecting you've got sacrifices around the place to be the ones that go down, and yeah,
Exactly, and your game plan doesn't rely on getting armor breaks either.
yeah,
It's nice if it happens, but you've generally got ways through with dodging,
yeah,
which is yeah. I just felt like I wanted a more relaxed season, and I was quite surprised this season there weren't many Agi teams apart
yeah.
from Cass's.
Dark Elves, yeah. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with the selections that people go for. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, I love high scoring offenses, but I'd be hard pushed to play another elf team. I think maybe Dark Elves, I'd give a go, but the lack of respect when you look at yourself in the mirror playing Wood Elves, or it's not
yeah. I
for
mean
me.
that's the trick. If you're like me, you've got no respect for yourself anyway. So there's nothing to lose.
Right. Was there one memorable game of the season that stuck out for you as being a great contest? Obviously, you lost to Struan and Greg, but those weren't great games by all accounts.
Well, he says they weren't great games.
Well, when you talked to me about them, one of them was very,
They
very
were
controversial, and the other you said you just got diced, which
they were great games for one person.
sure. But which do you think
Yeah,
was the best contest of the season for you?
definitely me versus Rob, 100%. I think we
Mm.
both came away from that game and both agreed that like it was. I don't think I worded it very well. I think I said it was a very, very cerebral game, but it
Mm.
was there was lots of thinking going on between both of us. Every move was very calculated, making
Yeah,
sure that we didn't leave a hole. So even though we came away or I came away with a draw on it, I still felt that I played well, Rob played very well, and it was one of those games that you felt good about or felt happy about
yeah.
afterwards.
I remember
Um,
watching that game actually, and I remarked upon that, like how there were just two great coaches doing really good blocking, um, tactics, like the lines of blocking that were going on, the blocking momentum, all plays that are like that I'd wanted to be doing all season with my orcs and just couldn't dream of actually achieving.
They were too busy getting stretched off the pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I think that's one of the ones I remember it as well, just because I keep kicking myself because it in those games it comes down to that one single mistake that you make, and I still remember the mistake of letting Robbed Goblin get away because I just didn't see it as a scoring threat. And El Presidente has a better eye for these things.
So as is tradition, I can't end the interview without asking you who you'd like to face in the bowl in round one.
I'm not sure it matters because I don't think I typically do very well in the bowl, but yeah, I think given what I did to Alidate's team, probably him. I do feel quite bad about it, but his team is pretty diminished right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that probably wouldn't want to face, well, I won't face any of the top coaches. Who's available for the?
It's only 6 of us because there's actually going to be 2 buys this season.
Okay.
But you got Zaz, Cass, Jez, Alado, Dan, and Greg. Alex.
Okay. Yeah. Not. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I probably wouldn't want to face Zaz.
No.
Just because the Jaegers are so hit and miss, right? And I could I might win, but I might have to pay another Zaz tax. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know. Saying that, Dan's goblins would be. They haven't done well.
It's a weird one looking at it for me because I think there's at least 3 teams there that sort of I feel like whether I win or lose is in their hands, not in mine.
Yes.
With Jez, Dan, and Cass to an extent with his Agi 5 Strength 4 guy.
Yeah.
They're going to be making a lot of rolls. Well, certainly more for Jez and Dan anyway. And whether halflings score on you or not, you've got no bearing on you.
It's whether the 3 teammate works.
He's going to make the rolls regardless. You can't do much to protect against it. There's not very few defensive formations that you can do to sort of like cast a net or anything like that. And if you do, then he just doesn't throw. He'll throw in a second, and marches a bit further and makes the throw easier. So yeah,
it's a tricky one, and same with Dan's goblins. It's whether the chainsaw works and the ball and chain works.
It's nasty.
And if it does, it's horrible. You're just struggling, but
nasty now as well. That most of us have got some team value behind us. So you play Dan now, and he gets a lot of inducements rather than just the stuff that he was getting at the beginning of the season. Like regularly.
What was that? Because I don't think he was getting anything at the start of the season.
No, right? Because I think he started with a full roster, so didn't get any. But like having 2 fanatics start off on offense, it's a real problem for a lot of teams. Like, what do you do about that?
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, and if you can't score quick, then you've just got to stomach the chainsaws and one game this season, his Hail Mary bomb is going to work, and it's and then we're all going to be terrified.
Well, he deserves it as well. He's grinded for a season to get to this point. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's all I've got time for. Thanks, Ash.
Hey, thanks very much for your time,
and good luck in the bowl.
Yeah, good luck to you. Hopefully we don't face off.
I'd quite like a rematch, but I don't think I win it. In fact, I don't think I win many games, many matchups against the top coaches.
Yeah, well, tradition says I don't either, so we've got no fear.
All right, well, good luck, and thanks again.
Yeah, thanks.